Hey, it's Dr. Berry again. I wanted to take a few minutes this morning and talk to you about how to begin to intermittently fast. I get a lot of patients who are very interested in this way of improving their health, losing weight, lowering their insulin and blood sugar levels. And I wanted to go over just how you get started this morning. Now, this is going to be a great video to share with your friends and family who are thinking about it, who you've talked to about it, but they're not really sure how to get started doing that. This would be a great video to share with them. So share this on your social media or just send them a link in your email or a text message so that they can begin this wonderful journey with us. Now, you may notice my background's a little different here today. I'm in a lovely flat in the heart of London that we're staying in for the next few days. We're meeting people here. Nisha is meeting people in her genre, and I'm meeting a few people in mine and having a great experience so far here in London. So let's talk about how do you get started intermittently fasting. First of all, is it healthy? Is it natural? Is it weird? Is it normal? Well, you fast for 6, 7, or 8 hours every day of your life, right? You may not know that, but you do. What am I talking about? When you're asleep, you don't eat, okay? So you're fasting, and that's the simple way to look at this. Fasting is not starvation. It's not starving yourself. It's just extending the amount of time that you already do what you do. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to mimic the life of our ancestors, the life that our DNA that rides in every cell of our body was used to for the last 100,000 years. There were times when we just didn't have food to eat. Days sometimes, but that's a little harsh for the world we live in today, so I don't really recommend that form of fasting. If you have never considered intermittent fasting before, you really should look into it. I've had people who are on 3 medications for their diabetes actually be able to come off all 3. I've had multiple patients who are on insulin for their diabetes, who another doctor had started them on insulin for their type 2 diabetes. We were able to get them completely off insulin, and then that leads to even more weight loss. So how do you get started? What's step 1? So step 1 is realizing you already fast every night when you're asleep for 6, 7, or 8 hours. You already do that every night. So this is just something that you're already doing that we're just going to do a little more of slowly but surely. And also, I don't recommend that you start with a 16-hour fast or a 2-day fast. I think that's pushing it. There's no point really, because you're going to get the results without doing that. So let's say you sleep 8 hours a night and you'd like to start intermittent fasting. So you're either going to tack 30 minutes or an hour onto that time, and you can either do it in the evening before you go to bed, or you can do it in the morning after you wake up, whichever's better for you. So for most people, it's better to just not eat or drink any carbohydrates or protein in the morning after they wake up. And so you can have your coffee or your tea, but you won't put any sweetener in there. You'll put either nothing or you'll put a good quality fat in that, and that won't bump up your insulin level and therefore won't break your fast. And so instead of fasting for 8 hours, you're going to fast for 9 hours. And you'll do that for a week or 2 and get completely used to that, and then decide, okay, where am I going to tack on the next 30 minutes or an hour onto my fast? And you can basically, there's 2 windows of time. There's your fasting window, which is when you're not eating or drinking any carbohydrates or protein. And there's your feeding window, when you're eating hopefully a very healthy diet, because that helps the process along. But you can also just keep eating the diet you're eating now. That's not ideal, but it's doable, it's possible, and if you can't afford to do any better, then that's fine. I want you to do the best you can do based on the resources you have and the knowledge you have and the money you have. A lot of people just give up and say, well, I can't do this because I can't afford all that fancy food. Well, yeah, you can do this, okay? You can get started today or in the morning with intermittent fasting, because it's also the cheapest diet in the world, because it costs exactly $0, 0 pounds, 0 euros. It costs you nothing to intermittently fast, because what you're doing is you're not doing something. That's also why you won't ever hear a big corporation or a company, or even probably the American Heart Association or the American Diabetic Association, they will never ever endorse intermittent fasting, because there's no money to be made off of it. Okay, I don't make a penny off intermittent fasting, and nor will anyone else, because there's no product to sell. Once you understand how to do it, you can literally do it from your home. You can do it, if you're homeless, you can do it from the stoop. If you're in prison, you can do it in your prison cell. No one can stop you from doing it, and no one can charge you for doing it. So it's really a very beautiful way to get healthier. And so all you're going to do is just increase the amount of time in each 24-hour period that you don't eat. And you don't want to really break these times up. You want it to be one continuous period of time. And that's why basing it around your sleep time is the easiest way to do this, is because you're already fasting when you're asleep. I'm sorry for the ambient noise. There's police and airplanes and everything here in downtown London. Just I hope it's not too loud with my AirPods. So ultimately, what you'd like to get to is at least fasting for 12 hours. And so you're going to be tacking an extra 4 or 5 hours onto your sleep fast with a waking fast as well, so that your entire non-interrupted fasting window is 12 hours long at least. And that's really when you're going to begin to notice the benefits. If you're a diabetic, your blood sugars are going to really start to come down, not in a dangerous way, but in a good way. You actually want your blood sugar to come down. So many diabetics are told, oh, you want to keep your blood sugar, told by other doctors, not by me, you want to keep your blood sugars from 120 to 200. If it gets any lower than that, it can be dangerous. That's like the worst advice in the entire world. I'm not a diabetic. My blood sugar right now is probably 80. It's probably 70 because I haven't eaten. I'm still in my fasting window. So yeah, you don't want your blood sugar to be above 120 ever if you can help it, because you're doing permanent damage to every cell in your body when that happens. So fasting is going to help you greatly and quickly take control of your blood sugars, of your insulin level, of your weight on the scale, of the way your pants fit your waistline. All those things are going to benefit from intermittent fasting. Now, once you've conquered the 12-hour fast, so that you're fasting for an additional 4 to 5 hours on top of your sleeping window, then you can start working on increasing that amount of time up to where I'm at currently. I currently fast for 16 to 18 hours a day. And if you're not fasting at all right now, you're probably thinking, oh my God, that sounds awful. That sounds like torture. But I promise you, I'm not hungry because of the foods I eat during my feeding window. I'm just not hungry during the fast. And also, as you get into this slowly, your body gets used to it, and you just don't miss eating. I promise. I hope I don't look weak or tired or subdued or suppressed or depressed, because I'm not. A lot of people think if I don't eat every 2 hours, my energy level will just fade away. Well, think about that for a second. Our ancestors 30,000 years ago, would sometimes go for days without eating until they found the next food source. Evolutionarily speaking, if you had to eat every 2 hours in order to keep your energy level optimum, then how were they going to catch their next meal if they hadn't eaten in 24 hours? They'd be so tired and lethargic and fatigued, they couldn't even go out and hunt. So obviously that's a myth that's been started by the huge corporations that financially benefit from you eating every 2 hours. See, there's money to be made there. So guess what? They're going to endorse that. They're going to tell diabetics, oh, you need to eat 3 meals a day with 3 snacks in between. That's what you should do, because they make money when you do that, okay? No one makes any money when you fast. No one makes any money when you put off your breakfast meal or you push back your evening meal. There's no money to be made, so no one's going to endorse that. So I hope this video has helped a little bit. If you have a friend or a loved one who's thinking about trying intermittent fasting, please share this video with them and subscribe if you'd like. That'd be great. So next time I get a bright idea, you know, one of the first to know about it. Okay, this is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next.